These two people, who appeared to be boss and secretary, were actually secret lovers who had been together for 3 years. On this day, the man went with his friend to a bar to hang out, but he saw his girlfriend arrive behind him. He lost all interest in the fancy atmosphere and immediately took out his phone to ask for her exact location. Seeing him glued to his phone, his friend came up and put his arms around him, saying a few things that made him really angry. Then, Gu Yi slowly opened the door and sat directly between the two of them to separate them. After a few greetings, he told the staff to bring a lot of liquor. The man got scared and tried to run away, but Gu Yi's friend stopped him. Xiao Jing found it funny, but when she saw Gu Yi's eyes, she immediately stopped. Then Xiao Jing rushed to explain, but Gu Yi only believed what he saw. He didn't want to hear any explanations from her, and completely ignored Xiao Jing. Because of that, Xiao Jing didn't sleep well all night at the door, until Gu Yi woke her up the next morning for her to change her clothes and go somewhere with him. It turned out they were going hiking with a client, but by this point, Xiao Jing was clearly exhausted from the cold and likely to collapse at any moment. He didn't even notice, and even when the people next to her saw that she was uncomfortable, he didn't plan to go over and care about her. Instead, he complained, thinking she was ruining the deal, eventually leaving her alone. But Xiao Jing didn't have any complaints. That night, she carefully snuggled in his arms, looking for comfort. At this time, Gu Yi set up a date with a girl to provoke her, but it was actually a date with his arranged fiancée. Afterwards, he intentionally called her and asked her to bring him hangover medicine. She rushed over, but seeing such an intimate scene, Xiao Jing offered to take him home. But Gu Yi said coldly, "No need for you to bother," and then got up and took that girl home. At this point, Gu Yi reminded him that the thing at the bar last time was a misunderstanding. The other guy just wanted to recruit Xiao Jing to work at his company. It wasn't that Xiao Jing was trying to seduce him, so he shouldn't make things hard for her. And the friend didn't forget to remind Gu Yi to cherish what he has, or he'd regret it. The next day, Xiao Jing went to get Gu Yi's suit for a party, and noticed that something was missing. So she looked around to find something to match the suit. Right then, she saw a lapel pin with a male client. At the same time, the man bragged that this lapel pin was from a designer he really liked, and that he wanted her to give it to him. But Xiao Jing directly refused him, pointing out that the pin was too flashy and didn't match his vibe. Then she proactively found a set for him. This action made the man fall in love with her at first sight. At this moment, Bai Yun proactively came to the door, claiming she was Gu Yi's fiancée. But Xiao Jing ignored her, saying that she was not only a secretary, but also Gu Yi's girlfriend. This action angered Bai Yun, and she slapped Xiao Jing. Embarrassed, she still wanted to keep going, but Xiao Jing slammed her head into a mirror and then warned her. The chairman with his secret girlfriend of 3 years went to a cocktail party. Unexpectedly, his fiancée was also there. The woman immediately came over with the excuse of taking the man to see a friend. When she saw Xiao Jing standing alone, she purposely spilled red wine on her legs and then blamed Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing looked at her with a disdainful gaze. Unexpectedly, Gu Yi not only didn't believe her, but also helped the other woman out. The mistress immediately proudly told Xiao Jing to clean her shoes. Faced with the aggressive demands, Xiao Jing couldn't believe this was the man she had loved for 3 years. Desperate, she had no other choice but to pick up a tissue nearby. Just when she was about to clean, luckily a man appeared and stopped her, then led her away. After returning home, Xiao Jing asked Gu Yi if he wanted to marry Bai Yun. Gu Yi told her not to listen to the gossip, saying he only saw Bai Yun as a younger sister. But unexpectedly, Gu Yi's mother, the next day, to foster their relationship, actually had Bai Yun parachute directly into the company as Gu Yi's special assistant. On her first day at work, she started causing trouble. While everyone was having lunch, she secretly went to Xiao Jing's workspace, took important contracts, and hid them in her drawer. Xiao Jing came back from lunch and found the contracts were missing. Her colleagues in the company helped her search, and they saw glitter on the floor. Xiao Jing immediately knew that Bai Yun had taken them and went to find her, asking if she had taken the contracts from her drawer. Not only did she not admit it, she also accused Xiao Jing of not keeping them safe. Desperate, Xiao Jing had no choice but to flip through her drawers herself. The commotion of the two drew Gu Yi's attention, and he asked what they were arguing about. Then, he learned everything. Xiao Jing even provided evidence. This time, Gu Yi sided with Xiao Jing and let her search directly. But unexpectedly, Bai Yun had changed the contract long ago. Finally, through surveillance, they searched for a long time in the trash and found the contract. But Gu Yi said he had already contacted the other company to make a new one and told her to throw this one away. At the same time, Gu Yi's mother also came to find her, telling her that Gu Yi was getting married soon and to settle their relationship, saying she would give her money to compensate her. But Qiao Jing didn't agree and got up and left. And on her way back, Qiao Jing suddenly had unbearable stomach pain. She had to pull the car over to the side of the road. She called Gu Yi, but couldn't connect to him. When she was overwhelmed, Bai Yan appeared just in time and took her to a hotel to rest. But she never thought this scene of the two of them would be photographed. It was also shown on the big screen downstairs in the company. Gu Yi immediately pulled her away when he saw it. Qiao Jing explained that she had called him, but no one answered, and in a jealous rage, she said that no other man had touched her from the beginning to the end. She only had him. Afterwards, Gu Yi calmed down and let her go. Qiao Jing lost faith in Gu Yi. She was tired of their 3-year secret relationship, so she resigned. He thought she was just throwing a tantrum for no reason. But she was exhausted and didn't want to continue this relationship anymore, saying goodbye on the spot. Gu Yi looked at her with disbelief. She ended their relationship too easily. Then, he shouted, and tried to persuade her to stay. Qiao Jing didn't even want to turn back. At this time, Gu Yi rushed home, saw that all her things had disappeared, and immediately flew into a rage. And since Bai Yun had taken over Qiao Jing's job herself, messing up Gu Yi's schedule, it caused him to always be on the verge of an emotional outburst, so he simply fired her so she could stay home and prepare for the engagement. Addicted, it was hard to quit. That night, he became sick with longing and had nightmares. When he woke up, he immediately got up to go find Qiao Jing. Qiao Jing wasn't sleeping here either. She received a threatening call from Gu Yi and went outside and got into his car, asking him how he knew she was here. Faced with Gu Yi's overbearing words, Qiao Jing only wanted to leave. Gu Yi, seeing that she wanted to leave, immediately trapped her in his arms, asking her when she would stop causing trouble, what was making her unhappy and want to leave. To keep Qiao Jing, he said she could do whatever she wanted. Qiao Jing was hurt and said decisively that she didn't want those things. She wanted him to stay away from her. But Qiao Jing worried that he would find her again, so she broke up with her best friend and found a hotel. But the staff told her that she had been upgraded to the presidential suite. As soon as she entered the room, she realized something was wrong. With no time to think, Qiao Jing heard Gu Yi calling her name. She immediately ran towards the door to leave, but Gu Yi had moved one step ahead of her and pressed the door shut, explaining that he was marrying Bai Yun only for business benefits. The Gu and Bai families were both large corporations. A business marriage was a last resort. Qiao Jing didn't expect him to say such nonsense. A man who couldn't say no to her when he saw her, but she slapped him, taking the opportunity to escape. Taking her luggage and leaving, she had no other choice but to call Bai Yan for help. Coincidentally, he had a homestay designed by him that she could stay at. At the same time, here, Gu Yi had searched all the places in Nancheng. He couldn't find any trace of her. It suddenly reminded him of the rumored man. He asked a friend to check and found a lead and went straight to him in a rage. So the two men, driven mad by love, fought. Luckily, Gu Yi's friend arrived in time to stop him, but how could Gu Yi let it go that easily? So the revenge began, for his company to steal his business to keep him busy. Today, Qiao Jing's best friend came to visit. Her best friend said it seemed like there was something wrong with the decorating company. After looking into it carefully, she learned it was a design company from a party. This made Qiao Jing immediately understand that Gu Yi had done it. So, she found him and said that Bai Yan was innocent and shouldn't be involved, and Gu Yi also used this to threaten her to come back to him, saying that he would be good to her. On this day, his fiancée returned early from overseas, and under the urging of his parents, the two prepared to get married. So on their wedding day, Qiao Jing chose to escape the city. And Gu Yi seemed to have a sixth sense, anxiously calling her along the way, but it was always off. He realized he was wrong and had the driver stop. His mother told him it was too late, she was already gone. But he wanted to do the opposite, driving away from the engagement ceremony. At this time, Qiao Jing had returned to her hometown, still unaware that Bai Yan had chased after her here. The old couple treated him like a future son-in-law, which was one of the things that he liked. Even more so when they were both walking around, but unexpectedly, Gu Yi, who had driven all night, also arrived, and she learned that Gu Yi had called off the engagement. Qiao Jing couldn't believe that he had canceled the engagement because of her. With no time to think, Gu Yi was annoyed by her self-righteous attitude and walked away, being misunderstood by her mother as bullying her daughter. She just wanted to teach him a lesson, but Qiao Jing pulled him away. But he was almost caught again by someone sent by his mother. Fortunately, Qiao Jing's younger brother appeared in time, stunning them for a short time, but it provided an opportunity to escape and take him to a store. Although he didn't gain favor with her mother, he unintentionally won the heart of her brother, even staying until closing time and not leaving. He heard that Bai Yan was going to live in her house, so he immediately said that he would stay too. Qiao Jing didn't want him to stay here any longer, so she took him outside to talk. Gu Yi said that he had canceled the engagement because of her. Qiao Jing had to take responsibility. Qiao Jing asked him in surprise if he could marry her. Gu Yi resolutely said that he could, but his hand unintentionally loosened, saying he wouldn't marry her now. Marriage wasn't an easy thing. Gu Yi said that if he only cared about benefits, he wouldn't be here today. Then he began to play tricks here. That's how this childish scene came to be. He was pushed out, thinking that every year he celebrated her birthday with her, when actually it was Su Wan's birthday. Faced with this blatant deception, how could he bear it? Depressed, he started drinking to ease his sorrow. His friend couldn't stand it and had to call Qiao Jing, telling her what had happened to Gu Yi and to go find him quickly. So she went home and found Gu Yi lying motionless in the pool. She was so scared that she kept calling his name. Who knew? He had just fallen asleep after drinking too much. He couldn't resist, but pulled her into his arms. Gu Yi just needed to have Qiao Jing by his side. Even if she was with him because of Su Wan's heart, he would be content. Qiao Jing told him to cherish his life, to cherish the heart that Su Wan had given to him, then left without regret. To break up Gu Yi's feelings, his mother directly imprisoned him. To see Qiao Jing, he seized the opportunity to escape, but on the way, he had a sudden heart attack and fainted on the spot. After waking up, his mother took him to the hospital. Then, he received another message from his friend. Qiao Jing was in the courtyard. So despite his physical condition, he rushed over. He just wanted to say that back then, he always relied on her, without knowing how to cherish her. Now he realized he couldn't live without her. He started all sorts of entanglements. Once again, this belated affection felt a bit meaningful. Qiao Jing thought it was because he knew about her past with Su Wan. Only then would he have the delusion that he liked her, thinking that all of this was caused by his self-obsession. Gu Yi asked her to give him another year. Qiao Jing didn't want to repeat her mistakes. Seeing that she was resolute, he asked her again. Didn't she always want to investigate the truth about Su Wan's accident? He said that he could help her. The overbearing chairman, willing to go all out, dressed up as a cute, seductive bunny to make his girlfriend happy. But he never thought that his girlfriend would bring a group of friends home. Then, he immediately hid. At this time, Qiao Jing didn't know anything. She was also shocked by the scene before her. She quickly excused herself, saying that it was a friend's gathering here yesterday and she hadn't had time to clean up. At this time, her colleague saw a shadow by the window. She went over to investigate, but Gu Yi was about to be discovered. She was called away by another colleague, at which point Gu Yi took the opportunity to sneak into the room. With sharp eyes, she saw the watch on the coffee table. Again, curious, she picked it up and saw that this watch was Gu Yi's limited edition model. Qiao Jing immediately became tense, quickly explaining, saying that a friend accidentally left it behind. It wasn't Gu Yi's. Immediately, she found another topic to distract them. Her best friend, seeing everyone busy, wanted to go into the room to find clothes to change, unaware that Gu Yi was hiding in the closet. Seeing the door open, he did not let go. Luckily, Qiao Jing arrived in time. After understanding, she said that the door was broken. Gu Yi, seeing the crisis had passed, wanted to go out. Then, he saw the door open, thinking they had all left, so he went down the stairs, accidentally bumping into them, as they were preparing to return. Everyone was stunned by his outfit. Qiao Jing, seeing him, was so shocked that her eyes widened. Then he was so embarrassed that he went back inside. The next day, he followed Qiao Jing to the library, opening the book she had just opened. Then he realized that she had come here to remember her ex-boyfriend. This time, he didn't lose his cool and jump up, but instead chose to quietly accompany her. On a roller coaster, to be near her, he wore a heavy panda suit and sat next to her. This made Qiao Jing feel safe, and instead, she laughed and played very comfortably. While playing on the carousel, he sat far away and silently watched her. But he never thought that Qiao Jing had guessed it was him, asking him why he was following her. He explained that it was because he saw her writing a to-do list on the back of an album. 4 years ago on this day, it was the day she was going to confess to her ex-boyfriend. But she never went. She was going to have a date today. Gu Yi put Qiao Jing's hand on his heart so she could feel his heartbeat and told her Su Wan had completed today's date with her. Qiao Jing asked him why he did this, because he wanted to know what it felt like to be the person he deeply loved. Qiao Jing didn't expect him to do all this for her. It moved her, so she decided to give him a chance. The next day, Her best friend asked Xiao Jing to help her sell flowers. She said she wouldn't be able to sell them all today, but he said that he would sell them all. So, they found a park to sell them. Seeing that it was getting dark without selling many flowers, Gu Yi immediately climbed to the top of a swimming pool, calling out to everyone in his loud voice. My girlfriend said, as long as I sell all these flowers, she promises to marry me. As soon as the words were out, everyone rushed to buy. In a flash, all the flowers on the cart were sold out. Everyone called for him to propose. Then, he carefully braided a unique ring. Xiao Jing, will you marry me? She nodded in agreement. The two had a sweet life. Before long, Gu Yi's father sent people to bring him home, to make him break up with Xiao Jing. Gu Yi insisted that he couldn't break up with Xiao Jing, and then left home without looking back. Xiao Jing was also worried here, so she drove her motorcycle to pick him up. His family had given birth to him and raised him, not able to give him a choice, but he could choose the right person to build a family. Gu Yi's straightforwardness and sincerity also made Xiao Jing understand her heart, so the two worked together to overcome the difficulties. The father couldn't handle his son. He had no other choice but to find Xiao Jing, letting her know what the consequences would be. Gu Yi learned that Xiao Jing had been called by his father. He returned home in despair in the rain. Gu Yi begged his father, please, just let me have my way. Now, no matter how many difficulties there were in the future, they decided that they would face them together. The girl who had been the chairman's personal secretary for 3 years unexpectedly fell in love with him after being together day and night. Just when the two of them promised to be together forever, she heard that the chairman's mother was the real killer. She had killed her ex-boyfriend. Her boyfriend had also intentionally hidden it from her to cover for his mother. She felt like a fool in that moment, being deceived by them. Sad and despairing, she turned away and left. At this moment, she unexpectedly saw her deceased boyfriend standing in front of her. It turned out that 4 years ago, Suwan's mother was seriously ill. To raise enough money for the surgery, he proactively contacted his biological father, who was Gu Yi's father. But Gu Yi's mother, worried that the illegitimate son would come back and take the family's assets, deliberately arranged for someone to cause a car accident. And Gu Yi accidentally saw this scene. Worried that something might happen, he chased after Su Huan, but then both of them got into a car accident. Gu Yi's father, worried that his wife would find out that the illegitimate son was still alive and seek revenge, fabricated Su Huan's death. A month later, after he had just woken up from the hospital, he received news that his mother had passed away. While he was heartbroken, blaming himself for not protecting his mother, he told him that the car accident wasn't an ordinary accident, so he had to take good care of his body, and after recovering, demand justice for his mother. From then on, hatred took root in his heart, so he started his rehabilitation. As soon as he recovered, he reunited with his father, taking advantage of his father's guilt towards him. In the eyes of outsiders, he was a good man, well-behaved, obedient, and caring for everyone. In fact, while saying moral words, he did despicable things. He had exerted all his abilities to be loved by his father. Not only did he successfully return to the family, he had also arranged to join the company as a project manager. Gu Yi asked his mother that since he didn't die, then whose heart was it? Gu Yi's mother said that when he was in university, she discovered he had a problem with his heart. She had looked for someone's heart for him, but to no avail until that car accident happened. Su Huan was about to die. The hospital had transplanted the heart and saved him, but she didn't know who the donor was. Knowing that his heart had nothing to do with Su Huan, he thought she could get back together with him, but unexpectedly, she directly chased him out. And when Xiao Jing faced Su Huan, who had returned from the dead, she saw the pain in his eyes and didn't even think about it. If he had truly liked her, he wouldn't have lost contact with her for 4 years. But Su Huan's revenge was more than that. He used Xiao Jing as a tool for revenge because he knew that he didn't have the capabilities that Gu Yi had. Only Xiao Jing could make him lose emotional control. So he deliberately provoked Gu Yi, saying that Gu Yi was just his replacement. At this moment, Gu Yi hit him. This scene was coincidentally seen by Xiao Jing. Xiao Jing was disappointed by Gu Yi's deceit, so naturally she wouldn't believe him. He could only watch the affection he had built up over 4 years slowly fade away. Taking advantage of the company dinner the next day, Su Huan again pretended to feel unwell, so that Xiao Jing would pick him up, to take him home. At this moment, Gu Yi grabbed Xiao Jing's hand, but she coldly brushed him off. The girl accidentally became pregnant with the chairman's child, so the man carefully prepared a proposal. But he never thought that Bai Yun had found out about it. At this moment, Bai Yun pushed the girl to the ground, leading to a miscarriage and the loss of the child. So she decided to fight back. On the day that Bai Yun held a concert, she revealed Bai Yun's fake mask herself. Not only that, but she also called the police to arrest her for investigation into the intentional assault. This was followed by major media coverage, making Bai Yun the target of public criticism. In just one night, her mother, to prevent her daughter from going to prison, sold all of their assets. She had no other choice but to humble herself and beg Qiao Jing for forgiveness, saying that as long as she was willing to sign the waiver, she could offer any compensation she wanted. But Qiao Jing said that only from the day she died, otherwise she wouldn't drop the case. Seeing that she was so determined, they kidnapped her and forced her to sign. Luckily, Gu Yi appeared in time. He knocked them to the ground, and the two seized the opportunity to run outside. But the other side had offered too much money. The kidnappers could only chase after them. Gu Yi had no other choice but to lock her in the car, fighting them alone. He was stabbed straight in the stomach with a knife. Luckily, the police finally arrived. Qiao Jing cried, while anxiously taking him into the operating room. Through this incident, she also realized that the person she truly liked was Gu Yi. However, Su Huan took advantage of the time Gu Yi was in the hospital, wanting to steal his project. To prevent Su Huan from succeeding with his plan, Gu Yi left the hospital early and went to the company to talk about cooperation with the other side, but this aggravated his wound. Qiao Jing had no other choice but to agree to stay and take care of him. Seeing the right moment, he gave her the ring that he had planned to propose to her with. The relationship between the two also grew deeper and deeper. Seeing that his plan had failed, Su Huan took advantage of the anniversary of his mother's death to meet with Qiao Jing. At this time, Gu Yi, while working, suddenly received a threatening phone call from an anonymous person, telling him to post the Xeris project proposal. Otherwise, Qiao Jing would be in danger. He hurriedly called the contact to confirm, but couldn't reach them. It turned out, Su Huan had worn a signal blocking device, so no matter how he called, he couldn't connect. For Qiao Jing's safety, he could only have the people briefly adjust the bid, with a combination of right and wrong, but when publishing, his subordinates sent out the official version, with irreversible consequences. Qiao Jing wasn't stupid. She had discovered that Su Huan had a problem. When he reminded her of her feelings for Gu Yi, not to be grateful for love, she freely admitted that before he had come back, she had already fallen in love with him. Su Huan angrily asked her that he had known her for so long. Why couldn't he overcome Gu Yi's 3 years? Qiao Jing said that feelings couldn't be measured by time. They had already missed a lot. Faced with the huge losses the company incurred, Gu Yi was not only brutally beaten by his father, but also demoted. His daily job was to clean up garbage at construction sites. He had a hard day, but in that moment, he felt that even the roadside stalls tasted good. At the same time, he also found a business opportunity through this issue. He felt that the waste on construction sites that were buried and burned directly was a waste of manpower, money, and material resources and wasn't environmentally friendly. He learned about a new type of technology that converted waste to a new recyclable product. So he decided to start his own business and leave in Xia. But at this moment, something happened at the construction site. Because there was debris on the road, a vehicle accidentally overturned and crushed a worker. It was Gu Yi's negligence. On this day, Gu Yi discovered that the new vehicle tires had severely worn out, so he brought the worker to the company to demand an explanation. The director saw the incident and started to badmouth him, trying to shirk responsibility. Luckily, the injured worker arrived in time and told the truth. Faced with the solid evidence in front of them, to stabilize his position, Su Huan could only watch Gu Yi be reinstated. At this time, Gu Yi and Qiao Jing were happily playing in the courtyard, not paying attention to Gu Yi's mother who had come to visit. They thought a war was about to break out. But unexpectedly, after seeing her sons change, Gu Yi's mother agreed to let them be together. But they didn't have time to be happy. Qiao Jing's mother also rushed over. After the two mothers-in-law met, the two strong women started going at each other. Qiao Jing's mother said that there were a lot of bad things in their family. The news had spread, and their family couldn't afford it. Gu Yi's mother couldn't bear to hear this, saying that she didn't think about whether it was a powerful family or an ordinary family. So Gu Yi hurriedly pulled his mother away. But Qiao Jing's mother believed that dragons create dragons, and phoenixes create phoenixes. Gu Yi's father could have had illegitimate children outside. Maybe Gu Yi could do such a thing. She didn't agree to let her daughter be with him, but her daughter liked him. She had no other choice but to turn into a demon and torture him. So as long as she was around, she would never allow the two of them any ambiguous space. Wanting a deep kiss, they were stopped by Qiao Jing's mother. She went to her daughter's room, covering herself completely with the blanket so that Gu Yi would mistakenly think it was Qiao Jing. The moment Gu Yi lifted the blanket, he was frightened almost to the point of losing his mind. When he was sleeping, she opened his window, waking him up with an alarm clock, making him learn how to cook. It was difficult to be able to calm down and sit together and eat. Then, Suwan pretended to be concerned about Qiao Jing's health, revealing that she had been pregnant and had miscarried. This angered Qiao Jing's mother. When she returned home, she scolded Gu Yi for not being able to protect the child. Gu Yi knew that no matter how he explained, it would be useless, so he found his mother and asked her to come and propose for him. Then, Gu Yi's mother also came, but Qiao Jing's mother still didn't change her mind. To compete with each other, the two mothers-in-law drank together. After they got drunk, they became best friends. The movie was reaching its end. Suwan's father finally passed away under his manipulations. He acted out a touching father-son scene in front of everyone. Behind the scenes, the will was forged. Only 10% of the shares were left for Gu Yi. Suwan not only owned 50% of the shares, but would also succeed as chairman of the group. There was no way this will was not fake. Gu Yi's mother said that the company must be left to her son. Gu Yi thought that it was his father who had been disappointed in him. He would leave the company and strike out on his own. Even though he didn't want to, he was willing to accept the outcome. And while cleaning up his memories, he discovered that when he had argued with his father, the Lego set that he had smashed in anger had been kept by his father. Taking it back and putting it back together, when he completed the puzzle, Gu Yi saw that there was an extra piece. This extra piece made Gu Yi a little suspicious. Could it be a clue left by his father? Because they never added or subtracted a single piece when assembling Lego. So, he asked his mother what the meaning of 0407 was on it. It was the anniversary of the wedding day of Gu Yi's mother and father. They decided to go to the safe and look for clues. It turned out, Suwan had already been there before, requesting to open the safe first. To not alert the enemy, Gu Yi's mother could only pretend that her real estate certificate was in there. Due to the presence of a client, Suwan could only agree to go with her to retrieve it. Faced with these 5 safes, she couldn't even find the evidence. Gu Yi saw the safe with 0407 on it, signaling for his mother to open it. There was nothing inside. The lawyer who drafted the will found them today, saying that he had thought of a detail. After returning, Suwan had brought the suicide note he had sent to him. The seal on the bag was slightly yellowed, and now, this seal was brand new. By that, they were more sure that the will had been forged. Gu Yi asked the lawyer, "When you were taking care of my father's safe, did you pay attention to what was inside?" "No. 407, the boss mentioned a painting for the last time, before he died." This way, Gu Yi remembered the painting in the office. So Qiao Jing, under the guise of bringing afternoon tea to the residential community colleagues, went to the office to examine the painting. She examined the painting and found a memory card. At the same time, Suwan proudly held his inauguration ceremony as chairman. A live video was shared on the big screen. Regarding the 80% of the company's shares, Gu Yi inherited 50%, Suwan 10%, and the company Gu Yi was in will be left to his children. Suwan said that he had clearly cleaned up everything. Where did this video come from? The original painting he had gifted to his father to please him, but he never thought that his father would hide the memory card there, ruining him. He decided to fight with Gu Yi. Gu Yi's mother admitted that it was her fault, but she had never thought of hurting him. But Gu Yi was innocent. Gu Yi chased after him, just to save him. If it hadn't been for him, he would have crashed into his car. He had almost died then. He never thought that at that time, Gu Yi had tried to save him, almost losing his own life. Unable to face the truth, he chose to commit suicide. Luckily, Gu Yi stopped him in time, saying that his mother wouldn't want to see him like this. He had to live well. In the end, Gu Yi handed the company back to Suwan. He and Qiao Jing established an environmental protection company. They succeeded in their work. So, Gu Yi's mother started pushing for marriage. "Right here, the boss, Secretary Qiao Jing, we are waiting for your wedding day. Today is a good day to register. Your mother brought the books for the 2 of you. Today is a holiday. We will sign the papers, and you will be married." Finally, true love was rewarded with happiness. Please subscribe to the channel to receive notifications every time there is a new movie. Thank you.